I was 7 when my father first called my art doodles. I'd spent 3 hours on that painting, a watercolor of our backyard oak tree, complete with the tire swing Kirk never let me use. The branches were crooked, sure, and the leaves looked more like green blobs than anything nature intended. But I tried so hard to capture the way the afternoon light filtered through, creating those dancing shadows on the grass. "Look, Daddy." I'd run into his study, still wearing my paint-stained smock, clutching the paper like it was made of gold. He barely glanced up from his newspaper. "That's nice, Emily. Go show your mother your little doodles." My name is Emily, and that moment, that dismissive wave of his hand, carved something hollow inside my chest that never quite filled back up. 22 years later, I'm standing in my cramped studio apartment at 2 a.m., paint under my fingernails, staring at a canvas that sold for $43,000 last month. The buyer doesn't know my real name. Nobody does. To the art world, I'm Marae, mysterious, reclusive, the contemporary painter whose identity has become as sought after as her work. To my family, I'm still the girl who makes doodles. My phone buzzes against the paint-splattered table. A text from my mother. "Kirk's opening is next Friday at the Morrison Gallery. So proud. Can you believe our boy is finally getting his big break?" Our boy, never their girl. I set the phone down and pick up my brush. The canvas in front of me bleeds with raw umber and cadmium red, a piece I'm calling Inheritance. It's part of a series about things passed down through generations. Trauma, silence, the art of being invisible. Another text, "The Morrison Gallery, Emily. Do you know how prestigious that is? Kirk says they usually only show established artists." I almost laugh. The Morrison Gallery, where 3 of my pieces hang in their permanent collection, where Brendan, the director, calls me personally to discuss acquisitions, where next month, my phone rings. Lexi's name flashes on the screen. "Please tell me you're not doom scrolling your family's Kirk worship session again," she says without preamble. "I'm painting." At 2 a.m., while your family celebrates your brother's mediocre sculpture debut. This is healthy. I dip my brush in titanium white, adding highlights to the canvas. His work isn't mediocre. It's aggressively average. There's a difference? Mediocre implies effort. Lexi sighs. She's the only person who knows about Marae. Has been since college, when I first started signing my work with the pseudonym. Back then, it was protection, a way to submit to galleries without my father's voice echoing in my head, telling me I was wasting time on hobbies. "Em, you know I love you, but this whole secret identity thing is getting what? Complicated. You're literally famous. Your last show sold out in 3 hours. Art collectors are offering 6 figures for pieces sight unseen. Meanwhile, your family thinks you're still working night shifts at the diner." I'm still working night shifts at the diner, 3 times a week, because Marae's success is too new, too fragile to trust completely. Because 22 years of being told you're not enough doesn't disappear overnight, even when the world proves otherwise. "They don't ask about my life anyway," I say. "When's the last time my parents called to check on me? Not to talk about Kirk's latest achievement or my father's golf game. Just me." The silence stretches between us. "That's what I thought," I continue. "So what's the plan? Hide forever? Let them think you're a failure while you're secretly conquering the art world?" I add another layer to the painting, watching the colors blend and separate. Maybe. "Emily?" My email chimes. The sender makes my heart skip. Morrison Gallery. Official letterhead. "Hold on," I tell Lexi, opening the message. "Dear Marae, we would be honored to host a retrospective of your work this fall. Given your rising prominence and the critical acclaim of your recent pieces, we believe this would be a perfect opportunity to showcase your evolution as an artist. We're proposing a 6-week exhibition featuring 25 of your most significant works, including several pieces from your Inheritance series. The opening reception would be Friday, November 15th. November 15th, the same night as Kirk's opening. I read the email twice, then a third time. Brendan wants to feature my work, Marae's work, at the same gallery on the same night as my brother's debut. M, you still there? Yeah, I whisper. I'm here. What's wrong? You sound weird. I stare at the email, at the date, at the opportunity that's just landed in my lap like a gift from the universe. Or maybe like karma finally deciding to pay attention. Nothing's wrong, I say, and for the first time in years, I'm smiling. Everything's perfect. You're going to do it, aren't you? Lexi says the moment I open my apartment door. She's holding 2 coffee cups and wearing that expression she gets when she knows I'm about to make a spectacularly bad decision. Do what? I step aside to let her in, though we both know she's already figured it out. The thing, the revenge thing, the let's traumatize my entire family at an art gallery thing. I take one of the coffees. I prefer to think of it as finally letting them see me. Emily. She sets her cup down on my paint-stained table and turns to face me. Walk me through this, step by step. What exactly are you planning? I pull up the Morrison Gallery's website on my laptop. Kirk's exhibition page is already live. Emerging Voices, new sculptural works by Kirk Ryan. 3 pieces, small corner space, the kind of spot they give to artists whose friends know someone who knows someone. Look at this, I say, pointing to the screen. Kirk's been posting about it nonstop, finally getting the recognition I deserve. Can't wait to share my vision with the world. He has no idea what's happening in the main gallery that same night. Which is? I click to another page. The banner image takes up half the screen. Marae, a retrospective, 25 works spanning 5 years, main exhibition hall. Lexi's eyes widen. Oh, shit. They want to announce it next week. Press release, social media campaign, the works. Brendan thinks it'll be the gallery's biggest opening this year. And your family will be there. For Kirk. They'll be there for Kirk, I confirm. In their best clothes, ready to celebrate their golden boy. And they'll walk right past the biggest exhibition the Morrison has hosted in months without realizing their daughter, their invisible, doodle-making daughter, is the artist everyone's talking about. Lexi sits down heavily. This is insane. This is perfect. What happens when they figure it out? I shrug. They figure it out. Emily, I'm serious. What's the end game here? You reveal yourself, they're shocked, then what? You all hug and cry, and suddenly 29 years of emotional neglect disappears? I don't answer immediately. Instead, I walk to my easel where Inheritance sits, nearly finished. The painting shows a dinner table with 3 chairs. 2 are pulled close together, bathed in warm light. The third sits in shadow, pushed slightly away from the others. Remember my college graduation? I ask. Which one? You had 2. The art show. My senior exhibition. I spent 4 years working toward that night. Had 12 pieces displayed, including that self-portrait that took me 6 months to finish. I called them 3 weeks in advance, sent them the invitation, even offered to pay for their hotel. Lexi's face softens. She knows this story. They didn't come, I continue. Kirk had some networking event with his sculpture professor, a wine and cheese thing that lasted 2 hours. They chose that over my graduation show. I remember. You cried in the bathroom for 20 minutes. I called them afterward. You know what my dad said? Sorry we missed your little art party, honey. Maybe next time. My little art party. 4 years of work, and it was a little art party. I turned back to the laptop, scrolling through Kirk's social media. His latest post shows him in his studio, arms crossed, trying to look serious and artistic. The caption reads, "Getting ready to show alongside some major talent at Morrison Gallery. Dreams do come true. Kirk art life, certain blessed." He doesn't even know who Marae is, I say. Posted last week calling my work pretentious anonymous garbage that's probably made by some trust fund kid with daddy issues. Okay, that's ironic on multiple levels, right? The trust fund kid with daddy issues is literally his sister. My phone buzzes. A text from my mother. Emily, are you free for dinner Sunday? Your father wants to talk about Kirk's big night. We're so excited we can barely contain ourselves. I show Lexi the message. When's the last time they invited me to dinner to talk about my life? Well, point taken. But revenge isn't going to fix this. It's not going to make them love you the way you needed them to when you were 7. I don't want their love anymore. The words come out sharper than I intended. I want them to know what they missed. I want them to understand that while they were celebrating Kirk's mediocrity, their daughter was becoming everything they said she'd never be. And then nothing. I don't need their approval. I just need them to know they were wrong. Lexi picks up her coffee, studying my face. You're really going to do this? I already emailed Brendan back. The retrospective is confirmed. Jesus, Emily. It's not about hurting them. It's about being seen. For once in my life, I want to be in the same room as my family and have them actually see me. What if it backfires? What if they get angry then they get angry? At least they'll finally be feeling something about me other than indifference. My laptop chimes with another email. This one's from Kirk. Hey sis, heard you might be in town for my opening. Mom mentioned you're between jobs again. Maybe you can help with setup. Could use someone to carry things. I turn the screen toward Lexi. She reads it and winces. Okay, she says finally. I'm in. You're in? Someone needs to document this disaster. Might as well be your best friend. The canvas stares back at me, half finished and demanding. I've been working on The Forgotten Daughter for 3 weeks now, and every brushstroke feels like opening a vein. It's brutal, Lexi says from behind me. She's perched on my windowsill, sketching in her notebook while I work. In the best possible way. The painting shows a little girl at a birthday party, but she's translucent, like a ghost among the solid, laughing figures around her. The birthday cake sits in front of a boy who looks suspiciously like Kirk, at age 8, while the girl reaches toward the candles with fingers that seem to pass right through them. Think it's too obvious? I dab cerulean blue into the girl's dress, making her even more ethereal. Honey, after what your family put you through, subtle went out the window years ago. My phone rings. Mom's contact photo fills the screen. A family portrait from last Christmas, where I'm cropped half out of the frame. Don't answer it, Lexi warns. I answer it anyway. Hi, Mom. Emily. Perfect timing. I'm at the grocery store getting ingredients for Sunday dinner. Your father specifically requested I make that roast you used to love. Used to love? Well, before you became so artistic about your food choices. I'm not artistic about my food choices. I'm lactose intolerant, which I've mentioned approximately 50 times over the past 5 years. Actually, Mom, I might not make it Sunday. I have this work thing. Oh, sweetie, you can't miss this dinner. We're planning Kirk's celebration party. He wants your input on the guest list. My input? He said you might know some artsy people who'd appreciate his work. From your hobby circles. Hobby circles. I set down my brush before I accidentally stab it through the canvas. Mom, I need to ask you something. Of course, dear. Do you remember my senior art exhibition in college? There's a pause. Which one was that? My graduation show, the one you and Dad missed for Kirk's networking thing. Oh, that. Emily, that was years ago. Why are you bringing up ancient history? Because it wasn't ancient history to me. It was the most important night of my college career, and you chose Kirk's wine and cheese party over it. Honey, you're being dramatic. It was just a student show. Kirk's event was with real professionals. I look at The Forgotten Daughter, at the translucent girl reaching for something she'll never touch. Right, I say. Just a student show. Besides, you've had plenty of other opportunities since then. It's not like you're still making art or anything. Lexi's eyes go wide. She makes a throat-cutting gesture, but I'm already past the point of no return. What if I told you I was still making art? Oh, Emily, sweetheart, we've talked about this. Art is a wonderful hobby, but you need to think practically. Look at Kirk. He spent years building his reputation, networking, making connections. That's how you succeed in the art world. And what if I told you I had succeeded? What if I told you my work was hanging in galleries right now? Mom laughs. Actually laughs. Emily, I love your optimism, but let's be realistic. If you were showing in galleries, don't you think we'd know about it? Would you? Of course we would. We're your parents. We pay attention to these things. I want to scream. Instead, I pick up my brush and add another layer to the girl's fading form. I have to go, Mom. I'll see you Sunday. Don't forget to bring some of those little cheese things Kirk likes. And Emily, maybe don't mention the art thing at dinner. Your father's been stressed about Kirk's opening, and you know how he gets about unrealistic career goals. She hangs up before I can respond. Jesus Christ, Lexi says. Did she just tell me my art career is unrealistic while planning a party for Kirk's 3-piece sculpture show? Yeah, she did. I'm starting to understand why you want to burn their world down. I step back from the painting. The forgotten daughter is nearly complete now, her translucent form reaching eternally toward a celebration that will never include her. I got an email from Brendan this morning, I say. The press release goes live tomorrow. Full spread in Art Forum, feature in the Times Arts section. They're calling it the most anticipated exhibition of the fall season. And Kirk still has no idea. Posted another selfie this morning. Can't wait to share the spotlight with Morrison Gallery's mystery artist. Wonder who it could be. Lexi closes her sketchbook. I have to ask one more time. Are you sure about this? Once you pull this trigger, there's no going back. I look at the painting, at the girl who spent her whole life being invisible, reaching for something just out of grasp. I've been invisible for 29 years, I say. I think it's time they finally saw me, even if it destroys everything. Everything's already destroyed. They just don't know it yet. I pick up my brush and add the final detail, a single tear on the forgotten daughter's cheek, the only part of her that's completely opaque. Besides, I add, what's the worst that could happen? They stop ignoring me? Sunday dinner at my parents' house feels like stepping into a time capsule where I'm permanently 12 years old, and Kirk is the second coming of Michelangelo. Emily! Mom opens the door wearing her best apron, the one she saves for special occasions. You made it! And you brought the cheese things! I hold up the bag from the fancy deli. Wouldn't want to disappoint Kirk. He's in the living room with your father, going over his artist statement. They've been at it for hours. I follow her inside, where Kirk is pacing in front of the fireplace, gesturing dramatically while Dad sits in his leather chair, nodding like Kirk is delivering the Gettysburg Address. The piece represents the duality of modern existence, Kirk is saying, the way we're simultaneously connected and isolated in contemporary society. It's a bronze sculpture of two figures sitting back to back. I've seen more profound symbolism in cereal commercials. Brilliant, Dad says. Absolutely brilliant. The gallery is lucky to have you. Hey, guys, I say from the doorway. Kirk barely glances up. Oh, hey, Em. What do you think of my statement? Too intellectual for the average gallery goer? I think you'll find your audience. That's what I'm worried about. The Morrison Gallery attracts a sophisticated crowd. I need to make sure my work speaks to them on multiple levels. Dad finally notices me. Emily, good. We were just discussing Kirk's opening strategy. He's going to be showing alongside some big-name artist. What was it again? Marae, Kirk says, and I nearly choke on my own saliva. Some anonymous contemporary painter. Probably a gimmick, but the gallery seems to think they're a big deal. Anonymous? Mom asks, setting down a tray of appetizers. How mysterious. It's pretentious if you ask me, Kirk continues. Real artists put their names on their work. This whole mystery persona thing screams trust fund kid with daddy issues. I grab a cheese thing and shove it in my mouth to keep from responding. Still, Dad says, it's good for you to be associated with established artists. Shows the gallery takes you seriously. Exactly. My professor says this could be my big break. Finally get the recognition I deserve. You've worked so hard for this, Mom gushes. Remember when you were little, always playing with clay? We knew you were destined for greatness. I remember those clay sessions differently. I remember begging to join in and being told I was too messy, too impatient, too likely to ruin Kirk's real art projects. What about you, Emily? Dad asked suddenly. Still working at that diner? Among other things, you should think about going back to school. Get a practical degree this time. Art was fine for college, but you need marketable skills. Maybe I have marketable skills. Kirk laughs. You're sweet, but let's be realistic. The art world is brutal. It takes years to build a reputation, and even then, most artists never make it. Look how long it's taken me to get this opportunity. 3 years, I say. What? You've been out of school for 3 years. That's not exactly a lifetime of struggle. 3 years of networking, building relationships, perfecting my craft. Do you have any idea how competitive it is out there? I take another cheese thing. I'm getting an idea. The point is, Dad interjects, Kirk has a plan. He's approaching this professionally. That's the difference between success and, well, hobbyists. Speaking of hobbyists, Kirk says, you should come to the opening Friday. Might give you some perspective on what real gallery representation looks like. I wouldn't want to intrude. Don't be silly, Mom says. It's family. Besides, maybe you'll meet some people in the art world. Network a little. Network, I repeat. You never know, Kirk adds. Maybe someone will need an assistant or something. Entry-level position. I look around the room, at my parents beaming with pride, at Kirk basking in their attention, at the family photos lining the mantel where I'm either missing entirely or partially cropped out. Actually, I say, I might not be able to make it Friday. What? Mom's face falls. Emily, this is your brother's big night. I have a work thing. The diner? Dad asks. Surely they can find someone to cover your shift for something this important. It's not the diner. Then what? Kirk demands. What could possibly be more important than supporting your family? I stand up, brushing crumbs off my jeans. You know what? You're right. I'll be there Friday night. Really? Mom claps her hands together. Oh, wonderful. We'll all be together for Kirk's triumph. Triumph, I echo. Yeah, it should be quite a night. Kirk grins. Trust me, Em. After Friday, everything changes. This is just the beginning for me. I smile back at him. You have no idea how right you are. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just, people can surprise you, you know. Sometimes the person you least expect turns out to be exactly who you should have been paying attention to all along. Kirk and Dad exchange a look. Emily, Mom says carefully, you're not getting your hopes up about something unrealistic again, are you? No, Mom. My hopes are perfectly realistic. In fact, I think Friday night is going to exceed everyone's expectations. I grab my purse and head for the door. Thanks for dinner. See you at the gallery. As I walk to my car, I can hear them through the window, already back to discussing Kirk's brilliant artistic vision. They have no idea that in 5 days, their entire world is about to shift on its axis. And honestly, I can't wait to watch it happen. The Morrison Gallery's invitation is a work of art itself. Thick cream cardstock with embossed lettering that catches the light. I run my fingers over the words Marae, a retrospective, before sliding it into an unmarked envelope. You're really doing this, Lexi says, watching me address it to my parents. No return address, no explanation, just dropping a bomb in their mailbox. It's not a bomb. It's an invitation to see their daughter's work. Their daughter who they think is still slinging hash at the diner. I seal the envelope and add it to the stack. One for Mom and Dad, one for Kirk, all identical, all anonymous. Brendan called this morning, I say, reaching for my laptop. The press release is live. I pull up Art Forum's website. The headline spans the full width of the page. Mysterious artist Marae to unveil identity at Morrison Gallery retrospective. Holy shit, Lexi breathes, reading over my shoulder. Listen to this. The enigmatic painter known only as Marae will finally reveal their identity at what promises to be the art world's most anticipated event of the year. The retrospective features 25 works spanning 5 years, including several pieces that have never been shown publicly. It gets better. I scroll down to the photo gallery. Look, the images show my paintings in the gallery's main hall. Inheritance, The Forgotten Daughter, and 23 others arranged like a timeline of my hidden life. Each piece is lit perfectly, the colors rich and vibrant against the white walls. This looks like a museum exhibition. Your work is gorgeous. Keep reading. Gallery director Brendan Duncan calls the collection a profound exploration of identity, family, and the cost of invisibility. The artist's technique combines classical portraiture with contemporary emotional rawness, creating pieces that are both technically masterful and deeply personal. My phone buzzes. A text from Kirk. Did you see this Marae thing? Gallery's making a huge deal about some anonymous artist, probably trying to steal attention from real artists like me. I show Lexi the message. She snorts. Real artists like him. Oh, the irony is going to be delicious. Another text. This one from Mom. Emily, did you get our invitation in the mail? Some fancy gallery thing. We assumed it was for Kirk, but his name isn't on it. Very confusing. They got them, I tell Lexi, and they still don't get it. Why would they? In their minds, I'm not capable of this level of success. It literally doesn't compute. I walk to my easel where The Forgotten Daughter sits, finally complete. The translucent girl reaches toward the birthday cake with an expression of longing so raw, it makes my chest ache every time I look at it. This is the centerpiece, I say. Brendan wants it positioned so it's the first thing people see when they enter the main hall. It's going to destroy them. Good. My laptop chimes with an email. The sender makes my stomach flip. Wallace Ryan. My father never emails me. What now? Lexi asks, seeing my face. I open the message. It's brief, typical dad. Emily, your mother says you received some gallery invitation. Probably a mistake or mass mailing. Don't get your hopes up about attending. These events are for serious collectors and industry professionals. Wouldn't want you to feel out of place. Dad. Jesus Christ, Lexi says, reading over my shoulder. He's literally telling you not to go to your own exhibition. He's protecting me from embarrassment. How thoughtful. I can't believe you lived with this for 29 years. I close the laptop and grab my jacket. Come on. I want to see the space one more time before Friday. The Morrison Gallery, after hours, is a different creature. Quiet, reverent, like a cathedral dedicated to human expression. Brendan meets us at the back entrance, keys jingling. Emily, perfect timing. The installation crew just finished. He leads us through the corridor toward the main hall. I have to say, seeing your work displayed like this, it's powerful, emotional. People are going to be talking about this exhibition for years. We round the corner and I stop breathing. My paintings cover every wall of the massive space, each one perfectly lit, perfectly positioned. The Forgotten Daughter dominates the far wall, visible from the entrance. To the right, Inheritance anchors a series about family dynamics. To the left, my earliest pieces show the evolution of my technique and emotional honesty. It's like walking through your psyche, Lexi whispers. The press is calling it unflinchingly personal, Brendan adds. We've had calls from collectors all week. The Times wants to do a feature story once your identity is revealed. I walk slowly through the space, seeing 5 years of secret work displayed like a museum retrospective. These paintings hold every moment of pain, every instance of being overlooked, every night I spent wondering if I was crazy to keep creating when no one seemed to care. There's something else, Brendan says. We've had some interesting RSVPs for Friday night. Oh? Your brother Kirk and your parents. They called to confirm their attendance. Seemed very excited about the mystery artist reveal. Lexi grins. This is really happening. They have no idea, I say, staring at the forgotten daughter. They're going to walk in here expecting to celebrate Kirk's 3 sculptures, and instead they're going to discover their daughter is the artist everyone's talking about, Brendan finishes. Emily, I have to ask, are you prepared for this? Once your identity is revealed, there's no going back to anonymity. I look around the gallery one more time at the visual diary of my invisible life now displayed for the world to see. I've been invisible for 29 years, I say. I think it's time to be seen. Friday night arrives like a storm I've been watching build on the horizon for weeks. I stand in my apartment, staring at my reflection in the bathroom mirror. Black dress, simple jewelry, hair pulled back, nothing flashy, nothing that screams, look at me. After tonight, I won't need to scream anymore. You ready for this? Lexi asks from the doorway. She's wearing her lucky red lipstick and carrying a small camera. As ready as someone can be for orchestrated family destruction. That's the spirit. We arrive at the Morrison Gallery 30 minutes before the official opening. The place is already buzzing with activity. Caterers arranging champagne glasses, photographers testing their equipment, Brendan directing traffic with the focused intensity of a conductor before a symphony. Yeah, Emily, he spots us immediately. You look perfect. Understated but elegant. The press is going to love the contrast. Mysterious artist turns out to be this quietly beautiful woman who's been hiding in plain sight. Are they here yet? I ask. Your family? Not yet. But we've had a steady stream of early arrivals. Critics from 3 major publications, collectors, other artists. The energy is incredible. Through the gallery's front windows, I can see people gathering on the sidewalk, checking their phones, adjusting their clothes. The art world elite, here to witness the unmasking of Marae. There's something you should know, Brendan continues. Your brother called this afternoon. He wanted to know if he could set up his pieces early before the crowd arrives. I had to explain that tonight is exclusively the Marae retrospective. How did he take that? Confused. He kept insisting there must be some mistake, that he was supposed to be showing tonight too. I finally had to tell him his exhibition is next month. Lexi snorts. Next month? Small group show. Local emerging artists. Very different audience. The front doors open and the first wave of guests flows in. I watch from the side corridor as they move through the main hall, stopping in front of each painting, leaning in to read the placards, pointing and whispering to each other. A woman in an expensive coat stops in front of the forgotten daughter. She stares for a long moment, then pulls out her phone to take a picture. That's Yesenia Gonzalez, Brendan says quietly. Young painter, very talented. She's been following Marae's work for 2 years. I watch Yesenia study the painting, her expression shifting from curiosity to recognition to something that looks like relief, like she's seeing her own story reflected back at her. More people, Lexi says, nodding toward the entrance. The crowd is thickening now. Suits and cocktail dresses, serious faces discussing brushwork and composition. I spot a photographer from Art Forum setting up near the main wall. Emily? Brendan touches my arm. It's time. Are you ready? Before I can answer, I see them. My parents enter first, Dad in his best suit, Mom in the navy dress she wears to church. They look around the gallery with the slightly overwhelmed expressions of people who've wandered into the wrong party. Kirk follows behind them, and I can see the exact moment he realizes something's wrong. His eyes scan the room, looking for his sculptures, finding instead wall after wall of paintings that have nothing to do with him. Where are Kirk's pieces? Mom asks a passing server, who points her toward Brendan. Excuse me, Dad says. approaching the gallery director. I think there's been some confusion. We're here for the Kirk Ryan exhibition. Ah, Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, welcome. I'm Brendan Duncan, the gallery director. Kirk's exhibition is actually scheduled for next month. Tonight is our Marae retrospective. But we got invitations, Mom says, pulling the cream cardstock from her purse. For tonight. Yes, those were sent specifically for tonight's event, the Marae reveal. Kirk steps forward. Look, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but I was told I'd be showing alongside this Marae person. My professor confirmed it. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding. Tonight is exclusively— This is ridiculous, Kirk interrupts. Do you know how long I've been preparing for this? I've invited colleagues, professors, potential buyers. You can't just change the program. The conversation is getting louder, drawing attention from other guests. I see people turning to look, phones coming out to record what's clearly becoming a scene. Perhaps we should step into my office, Brendan suggests diplomatically. No, Kirk says. I want answers now. Who is this Marae person anyway? Some trust fund brat who bought their way into a show? That's when I step out of the corridor. The main hall falls quiet as I walk toward my family. Every conversation stops. Every phone camera turns in my direction. The photographer from Art Forum starts shooting. Actually, I say, my voice carrying clearly through the sudden silence. Marae is me. Mom's face goes blank. Dad's mouth opens slightly. Kirk looks like someone just told him gravity has been canceled. What? Mom whispers. I'm Marae. I repeat, louder this time. These are my paintings. This is my retrospective, and you're standing in my gallery. The silence stretches for what feels like hours, but is probably only seconds. Then the photographer's camera starts clicking rapidly, and the spell breaks. That's impossible, Kirk says. You can't. You work at a diner. I work at a diner 3 nights a week. The rest of the time, I'm one of the most collected contemporary artists in the country. Dad finally finds his voice. Emily, what is this? Some kind of joke? I gesture to the walls around us. Does this look like a joke to you? Mom stares at the forgotten daughter, and I watch her face change as she recognizes something in the translucent girl's expression. Oh my God, she breathes. That's you, isn't it? As a child? That's me at every birthday party, every family dinner, every moment when I tried to be part of this family and you looked right through me. The crowd presses closer, sensing drama. I can hear whispers, see phones recording everything. Ladies and gentlemen, Brendan announces, stepping forward with a microphone. I'm pleased to introduce you to the artist known as Marae, Emily Ryan. The applause starts slowly, then builds to something thunderous. But I'm not looking at the crowd anymore. I'm looking at my family, watching 29 years of assumptions crumble in real time. The applause dies down as Brendan hands me the microphone. The entire gallery has gone silent except for the soft clicking of camera shutters. I can feel hundreds of eyes on me, but the only ones that matter are the 3 pairs staring at me in shock. Thank you, I say into the microphone. My voice echoes through the hall. I know many of you have been curious about Marae's identity. Some of you have probably wondered why I chose to remain anonymous for so long. I look directly at my parents. The truth is, I've been invisible my entire life, not by choice, but by circumstance, by family. A murmur ripples through the crowd. I see phones being raised, recording everything. These paintings, I continue, gesturing to the walls around us, are 5 years of work created in secret. 5 years of pouring my heart onto canvas, while the people who were supposed to love me most told me I was wasting my time with doodles. Mom's face has gone pale. Dad's jaw is clenched so tight I can see the muscles working. Emily, Mom whispers, but the microphone picks it up. You never said what, Mom? That my art was worthless? That I should get a practical degree? That real artists put their names on their work? I turn to Kirk. that anonymous artists are probably trust fund kids with daddy issues? Kirk's face flushes red. Several people in the crowd laugh. They clearly remember his social media posts. This is ridiculous, Dad says, stepping forward. Emily, you're embarrassing yourself. And us. Am I? I walk toward the forgotten daughter, the microphone still in my hand. This piece sold for $68,000 last month. The buyer was a collector from Switzerland who said it was the most emotionally honest painting he'd seen in decades. Gasps from the crowd. Someone shouts, "Holy shit!" from the back. This one, I move to Inheritance, was featured on the cover of Contemporary Art Review. The critic called it a masterpiece of familial trauma rendered with surgical precision. I can see people in the crowd pulling out their phones, probably Googling my sales records, my reviews, my exhibitions. But you wouldn't know any of that, I continue, my voice getting stronger, because you never asked about my life. You never asked about my work. You never asked about anything that mattered to me. That's not fair, Mom says, tears starting to form. We care about you. Do you? When's the last time you called to ask how I was doing? Not to talk about Kirk's latest achievement or Dad's golf game. Just me. The silence stretches. Even the photographers have stopped clicking. That's what I thought. Kirk finally finds his voice. This is insane. You're my sister. If you were some famous artist, I would have known. Would you? You called my work pretentious, anonymous garbage last week. You said real artists don't hide behind pseudonyms. Well, congratulations, Kirk. You've been sharing gallery space with pretentious, anonymous garbage your entire life. The crowd is eating this up. I can see people whispering, pointing, recording everything for social media. This is going to be all over art blogs by morning. Emily, please, Mom says, reaching toward me. Can we talk about this privately? Privately? Like we've talked about everything else in my life? No, Mom. I'm done being private. I'm done being invisible. I walk back to the center of the room, where a spotlight illuminates the gallery's main display area. For 29 years, I've watched this family celebrate mediocrity while ignoring excellence. I've watched you throw parties for Kirk's participation trophies while dismissing my actual achievements. I've watched you choose him over me so many times I stopped counting. Dad's face is stone. Emily, that's enough. No, Dad, it's not enough. It's not nearly enough. I turned to address the crowd directly. These paintings exist because I was forgotten, because I was dismissed, because I learned early that the only way to survive in my family was to disappear. I point to the forgotten daughter, that little girl reaching for the birthday cake. That's me at every family gathering, trying to be part of something that never had room for me. Yesenia, the young painter I noticed earlier, wipes tears from her eyes. Several other people in the crowd are visibly emotional. But here's the thing about being invisible, I continue. It gives you time to work, time to grow, time to become everything they said you'd never be. I look back at my family. Dad won't meet my eyes. Mom is crying openly now. Kirk looks like he's been hit by a truck. You always knew my name, I say, my voice dropping to barely above a whisper, but the microphone carries it to every corner of the gallery. You just never saw me. The silence that follows is deafening. Then, slowly, someone starts clapping. Then another person. Then another. Soon the entire gallery is erupting in applause. But it feels different this time. Not polite gallery applause, but something raw and real. I hand the microphone back to Brendan and watch as my father turns and walks toward the exit without a word. He doesn't look back. Mom lingers for a moment, staring at me like she's seeing a stranger. Emily, but she doesn't finish. She just shakes her head and follows Dad out into the night. Kirk stands alone now, surrounded by my success, his own forgotten exhibition suddenly feeling very small and very far away. Congratulations, he says finally, his voice hollow. You got what you wanted. Did I? He looks around the gallery one more time, then walks away, leaving me standing in the spotlight surrounded by 5 years of secret pain made public. The applause continues, but all I can hear is the sound of the door closing behind my family. The gallery empties slowly, like water draining from a bathtub. By midnight, it's just me, Lexi, and Brendan standing among the remnants of champagne glasses and crumpled napkins. Well, Brendan says, loosening his tie, that was definitely the most dramatic artist reveal in Morrison Gallery history. Think it'll hurt my career? I ask, though I'm not sure I care anymore. Are you kidding? My phone hasn't stopped ringing. 3 collectors want to buy pieces sight unseen. The Times wants an exclusive interview, and someone from the Whitney called asking about a potential acquisition. Lexi hands me a glass of leftover champagne. You did it, Em. You actually did it. Did I? You wanted them to see you. Mission accomplished. I walk over to The Forgotten Daughter, studying the translucent girl one more time. She looks different now. How so? Less desperate, like she's not reaching for something anymore. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. This is Yesenia, the painter from tonight. Your work changed my life. Thank you for showing us what courage looks like. Then another. Saw the live stream. You're my hero. Sarah. And another. My daughter is an artist, and my family dismisses her too. Sending this to them now. Michael. Jesus, I say, scrolling through dozens of messages. People are actually responding to this. Of course they are, Lexi says. You just gave voice to everyone who's ever been invisible in their own family. Brendan starts turning off lights. I hate to break up the moment, but we should probably head out. Big day tomorrow. Interviews start at 9. We gather our things and walk toward the exit. As we reach the door, I turn back for one last look at the gallery. My paintings hang in the darkness, illuminated only by the security lighting, but somehow they seem more present than they ever have. No regrets? Lexi asks as we step onto the sidewalk. Ask me in a week. We're walking to our cars when I see him. Kirk, sitting on the bench across the street, still in his suit from the opening. He's been waiting. Go ahead, I tell Lexi. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. She squeezes my arm and walks away. I cross the street and sit down next to my brother. Fancy meeting you here, I say. I've been thinking about what you said in there, about being invisible. And I never meant to make you feel that way. I look at him, really look at him, for the first time in years. He looks tired, deflated, like someone let all the air out of him. I know, I say. That's what made it worse. I don't understand. If you'd done it on purpose, I could have hated you, but you didn't even notice you were doing it. None of you did. I was so unimportant that even my pain was invisible. Kirk stares at his hands. I saw the prices online. What your paintings sell for, you're actually successful. Yeah. More successful than I'll probably ever be. Probably. He laughs, but there's no humor in it. You know what the worst part is? I'm not even surprised. You were always the better artist, even when we were kids. Then why didn't you ever say anything? Because it was easier to let Mom and Dad think I was the special one. Because I liked being the favorite. Because I'm selfish and weak and I didn't want to share the spotlight. It's the most honest thing he's ever said to me. What happens now? He asks. I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. Do you think... Could we maybe try again? As siblings, I mean. Without all the family bullshit? I'd consider this. You'd have to actually see me this time. Not as your little sister who makes doodles, but as who I actually am. I'm looking at you right now. Really looking. And I see someone who's braver than I'll ever be. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Mom. Emily, I'm sorry. I know that's not enough. But I needed to say it. I'm proud of you. I should have said that years ago. I show Kirk the message. He reads it and nods. She called me crying for 2 hours, he says. Dad's not talking to anyone, but Mom, she's devastated. She knows what we did to you. Good. Will you forgive us? Eventually? I stand up, brushing off my dress. I don't know Kirk, but for the first time in my life, that's not my problem to solve. You all have to figure out how to live with what you did. I'm done carrying the weight of this family's dysfunction. Where does that leave us? It leaves you with a choice. You can keep being the person who dismissed his sister's art as garbage, or you can become someone worth knowing. But either way, I'm not waiting around to find out. I start walking toward my car, then turn back. Oh, and Kirk? Your exhibition is next month. Small group show, local emerging artists. Maybe this time, try being honest about who you are instead of who you think you should be. As I drive home, my phone keeps buzzing with messages. Interview requests, congratulations, people sharing their own stories of family invisibility. But the message that matters most is the last one from Yesenia. You gave me permission to be seen. Thank you. I park outside my apartment and look up at the windows of my studio. Tomorrow, I'll start a new painting. Not about being forgotten or invisible or reaching for things I can't touch. About being seen. I didn't need their pride, it turns out. I just needed their silence. And now, finally, I have both.